Are you ready to take that on? City of New Orleans.
There is a house in New Orleans.
There is nobody in this building that is sitting down.
Rising sun.
I've been staying in shape, working on myself, and just staying ready because we never know when that time is going to come when they say, all right, let's resume. And I'm ready now. I'm going to be one of the greatest. You got to work when nobody's working. I don't want to be known like anybody else. I want to be known as Zion and only Zion.
He has won a point in NBA history like a man amongst bullies.
Zion detonating on the rim. Welcome to the NBA.
An electric smile, an electric game to go with it. Here's the yes-no proposition to make the playoffs for Zion Williamson and the New Orleans team. Minus 145 no at Caesars William Hill, so they are favored to miss the playoffs this coming season. So it's an interesting discussion on many levels because Williamson looks great so far in the preseasons. We welcome you in, Joe Fortenbaugh. I am Doug Kazarian, but the West is always still the West. How would you play this, Joe?
I would play the no, and I'd start by looking at the Western Conference by asking myself, which teams do I see getting back to the playoffs from last year? The Lakers, the Clippers, I think Denver and Utah are both going to go as well, and then Dallas and Portland. I'm going to say those six right there I would rank above the New Orleans Pelicans, which means we've only got two spots still open for New Orleans to get in. Phoenix is on the rise. The Warriors are going to be better this year. Memphis was right on the cusp last season. There's a lot of competition there. This is a team that really struggled defensively last year. 21st in defensive rating. Drew Holiday was traded to the Bucks. He was one of, in the eyes of many, probably their second best defender. And Zion, is he going to be in shape? Is he going to be well conditioned? A lot of questions here with new head coach Stan Van Gundy. It's going to take some time for it to gel. I lean to the no. Spurs,
Kings also in the mix, at least for that bottom half of the 8 playoff teams. That's what we think is going to happen. Like you said, new head coach, but Zion Williamson looks like he's going to be great and be able to play a full season. Let's bring in our math modeler, Preston Johnson. Preston, where do you stand on this Pelicans team?
So I think something that's important for most people to recognize when you're looking at these season win totals or looking at team futures, props, whatever it may be year to year, is that a team can be better. Like there's a chance that they are better with Zion playing more minutes, with Stan Van Gundy in there changing things up offensively and defensively. If their whole piece with Steven Adams there at center, maybe he's an improvement over Derek Favors, their defense maybe improves, even without Drew Holiday. They could still be better and not win as many games, all right? Just because you guys mentioned it, Joe rattled through the teams. The West has also had a lot of teams that are getting better, and the West is also just stacked anyway. And so while I want to be bullish on the Pelicans, and maybe I am, maybe it's a game-to-game thing, though. I'm betting ATS, early in the season, trying to be ahead of the market there rather than I'm going to try to bet over a season win total number that, honestly, I think is fair, and I'm not sure they're going to reach, even if they're a better team than they were a year ago.
And what minus 145 means is 59%. So if you think there's a larger than 59% chance that the Pelicans miss the playoffs, then you would lay the minus 145. I do, but just by a little bit. Preston obviously phrased it beautifully in terms of that concept. They can be better. That doesn't mean their chances of reaching the top 8 are better as well. And that's where I stand. I think the West is so competitive. The bottom teams, the teams that we're used to seeing in the lottery, have all improved. Phoenix, obviously adding Chris Paul, but it's the Kings and the Spurs I think are going to be right there. We don't know what's going to play out with COVID. You got to be careful on some of these teams that are fringe teams. That one stretch of COVID to one of their best players will significantly hurt them. All right, let's turn the page now to our favorite yes-no wagers. What do you got?
I would look at Washington to miss the playoffs. It's minus 115. And I'm going to start with this analysis like I did with the Pelicans. Let's look at the Eastern Conference playoffs last year, and you tell me who's dropping out. Milwaukee, Boston, Toronto, Philadelphia, Miami, Indiana, the Nets with Kyrie and Kevin Durant, and the Magic. Maybe the Magic drop out. They were the 8th seed last year. So is that the spot the Wizards are going to claim? Can they get past the Magic? Can they get past a rising Atlanta team who's going to be a lot better this year, in my opinion? They've got a lot of new moving parts. They were horrific on the defensive end of the court last year. They're going to have to improve that. 29th in defensive rating. 8 more wins last season is what Orlando had than them. Can you get past that with Russell Westbrook? Perhaps. They will be better. But like Preston was just saying, I like that analysis. They could be better this year and still miss the playoffs.
Right.
I got Washington, no.
Right, there's a swap of players, but Wall missed all of last season.
Right.
So they're essentially last year's roster plus Russell Westbrook and whatever free agents and picks they got. Let's bring in Preston. Preston, what's your favorite yes-no proposition?
This Portland Trailblazers prize baffles me. Joe mentioned them being like the lock in that top 6 kind of tier of the Western Conference. It's only minus 180. They make the playoffs. And I'm shocked. Like, you look at it in comparison to, say, the Nuggets, who are minus 1,600 to make the playoffs. Even the Jazz are minus 330. Those are both teams that I have rated slightly ahead of Portland, but Portland's pretty close. I love the addition of Robert Covington to shore up their 3-and-D wing, Derrick Jones Jr. as well. Nurkic they'll have back, who's been a top 25 player since he, before his injury, and then since then in the bubble, he played fantastically too. I don't know how this shouldn't be more in that Jazz range of the minus 300s. Denver's, they're maybe a step ahead, but minus 180, way too cheap. Love Portland. Outside of a Lillard injury, like, they're for sure making the playoffs, I think.
That's a great point. Remember, this goes for all the teams. Last year, we most recently saw a bubble. When you have to travel to Portland, that complicates things. It's a long flight, and they just are, I know there's no fans, but that's just part of the equation. For me, I'm going to take some plus money on the Warriors missing the playoffs.
Whoa.
I think the Klay Thompson injury, obviously everyone's noted it because he is a great player. But we're trying to kind of unjustified excitement with Kelly Oubre and even the rookie center out of Memphis, James Wiseman. He's a starting center as a rookie for a team that has playoff aspirations. We just got done talking about how good the West is. They're missing Klay Thompson. Obviously, they lost Durant from their last playoff team. It's a lot to ask, especially Steph Curry to stay healthy, which he's been unable to do. This season will go off the rails if Curry misses time. Draymond may not be as potent as he was in the past. I don't love this Warriors team. Too many other teams right there. I think they have some trouble.
I'll tell you, they will give you a couple stretches that'll make you sweat a little bit.
Of course.
They'll rattle off a few in a row. You're like, here they come. But you're right. The loss of Klay Thompson, everyone thinks about the three-point shooting, the defense. It's such a killer to what that defense can do.
Yeah, we'll see if Weissman's ready to play center, starting center in the NBA as well.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.